This double boning technique makes your corset to stand out. I used the invisible boning channel method, and I will also show you how to make a modesty panel, how to sew ridgeline and plastic boning to a corset, and how to fix an eyelet to the back of your corset. If you are interested, hit the subscribe button and let's get started. The materials needed is on your screen, guys. First, get the two back piece of your already cut corset. To create the boning channel, spread it like this on your table. Note that it's necessary to add boning to the back of your corset so that it doesn't collapse when you wear it. So to create the boning channel, first mark out where you are going to fix your eyelet to avoid it being too close. Place your tape up here and mark out 2.5 inches. Come down to the hemline and repeat the same thing. After that, go ahead and mark out your boning channel however you want yours to be, but give like 2 to 2.5 inches space, just as you see me doing in the video. I marked out 2.5 inches and also marked it at the hemline. Then I will use my ruler to connect the marks with a straight line. That's where I want to place my boning. Go ahead and create yours if you want yours to be 2 or 3 or more. I will move over to the second piece and repeat the same thing. After marking it out, these are the two linings for the two sides of the back. You can decide to create your boning channel on the lining. You can still decide to use a bias for your boning channel. It all depends on how you want it. This is the lace trimming. I will cover it after fixing the boning. So go ahead and notch the boning channel marks up and down because I will be fixing the boning inside, more like the invisible boning method that I told you guys about. Also, notch for the second back piece, then turn to the wrong side of the fabric. I used Estee as my interface and I highly recommend it. It all depends on the fabric you are using, please. If you are using net or organza, there will be no need for the interface. Next, with the help of the notched marks, I will transfer the boning channel mark to the wrong side of the fabric and use my ruler to draw a straight line on it like this. After marking it out, this is the first boning. It's called ridgeline or sewable boning. Here, I am measuring to know the length I will cut out. But first, place your tape like this and mark out 1/2 inch up here. Also mark out another 1/2 or 1 inch down here, depending on how many inches you added for your seam and hemming allowance. This is because the boning cannot be the same length with your dress. It's meant to be 1/2 or 1 inch shorter so that it won't obstruct you when it's time to sew. I will move over to the second piece and also mark out the 1/2 inch seam allowance up and down. Then get my boning. Place it to be touching the 1/2 inch. Then for the down part, make sure it stops exactly at the 1/2 inch mark. Use your thumb to hold the exact mark. Fold it like this and cut it out with your scissors. This is what it should look like. Straighten it with your hand or iron if yours is not straight. We are going to run a stitch on it because this is a sewable boning. This is the second boning, that's the plastic or non-sewable boning. We are going to insert this one after creating the boning channel with our ridgeline or sewable boning, but that will be after sewing and fixing the modesty panel. So keep watching to see how to cut and sew a good modesty panel for your corset. Go ahead and cut out another boning for the second back piece. After sewing the boning, I will then cover my crepe with the lace. Next, for the front, this is the corset lining. You can decide to use a bias and create your boning channel. Some people fix their boning to the lining if they don't want you to know that it has boning. That's the invisible boning method. It all depends on how you want it, but it will still come out well. The most important thing is that you are properly snatched. For me, I will be fixing mine on the main fabric, but inside. I will take out the lace because I don't want to sew on it. I will turn to the wrong side of the fabric. First, locate the midpoint, then use my ruler to draw a straight line at the center like this. To create the boning channels, please note that there is no special line or format for it. You can freestyle it to your taste or your client's taste. You can do just 4 boning channels or any number you want. Me, I want it to have that snatched effect look, so I will be creating up to 7 boning channels. The first boning channel is this one I marked out here at the center. Then the other 2 will be at the point that should have been the joining, exactly at this underbust center. Place your tape down here from the center line. Mark out 1 or 1.5 inches. Come to this other side and mark it out again. Then mark out the under bust center. Then connect the two marks together like so. Also, connect for this other side. Sorry my chalk is not so visible, but just follow up with what I am doing, you will understand it. Remember to play back the video if you are confused at any point. For the next boning channel, place your tape down here on this last one we just marked and mark out 2 inches. Come to the other side and mark out the 2 inches for that side. For the up, place your tape on the under bust center and mark out 2 inches. Then use ruler to connect it to the 2 inches below. Then repeat the same thing on this other side. Now we have 5 boning channels. For the last set to complete it to 7, place your tape on the last one here and mark out 2 inches up and down. Then connect it with your ruler. Also repeat the same thing for this other side to complete it to 7 boning channels. Next is to mark out 1/2 inch seam allowance up and down so as to know where the boning will start and where it will end. Please mark out 1/2 inch on all the boning channels, just as you see me doing in the video. After marking it out, come down to the hem line and mark out the hem allowance. Please, this one is depending on how many inches you added for your own hemming allowance. So go ahead and mark it out on all the boning channels we marked out. Next, I am using my tape to measure all the boning channels I marked out. Write down all the measurements and use it to cut out the sewable boning for the 7 lines. Here, I am using the boning to cross-check so as to avoid mistake. Please, you need to smoothen the edges of your bonings. You can either use masking tape to cover it, or you use file to smoothen it, or you can use fire lighter to smoothen yours. Here, I am using both file and masking tape just in case. I have filed and covered the edge of my sewable boning. I will place it on the first line, then cut it out according to the measurement. Go ahead and smoothen it with file and also cover it. Please, you can decide to use only file. You must not cover it. Next, I will get the remaining boning, place it on the second line, file the edge to smoothen it, then cut it out according to the measurement. I will go ahead and repeat the same thing for the remaining 5 lines. So guys, go ahead and cut out yours. Here I am showing how you can use lighter to smoothen the edge of your boning. You can also use this method. After smoothing all the edges, this is the back piece, and here I am creating the boning channel by sewing on the ridgeline boning. Please sew it exactly the way I am doing in the video, at the very extreme, through that tiny space. Sew up on both sides, just as I have done here. This is what the front should look like after sewing. Now this is the channel opening through which we will be passing the plastic boning. Do not close it please, just sew on both sides only. After sewing the 2 back piece, I will cover it with the lace. Repeat the same thing for the front piece of your corset. This is mine. Set the space for joining up there and down here too. Here I am fixing the 3rd boning, smoothing the both end first before sewing. This is the center boning channel, and here I am done creating the 7 boning channels. This is what the front looks like, and this is the inside. We will fix the plastic boning through the channels below. This is what the back piece looks like, and this is what the front looks like. I will go ahead and cover it with my lace. If yours doesn't have lace, leave it like that. That's why you need to use the exact color of thread or the invisible thread for this. Next, before we do the double boning technique, that's fixing of the second and stronger boning, the plastic boning, go ahead and couple your corset. Couple it up and turn to the right side of the corset. For the Modesty panel, this is the 2 back piece. After coupling and turning, place it like this on your table. Here I am trying to get the measurement for my Modesty panel. This is my Modesty panel. For the wideness, I used 9 inches. Then for the length, make sure your Modesty panel is like 1 inch shorter than the back of your corset. To cut it out, it's just a square shape. Cut out any pieces. Make sure it's double. One will serve as the lining. The wideness should be like 9 inches. Then the length should be 1 inch shorter than the back of your corset. Please iron hair stay or gum stay to the second piece that will serve as the lining. Then sew the two together to be like this very one here. This is what yours should look like after sewing. As you can see, I iron hair stay to the lining part. Make sure to leave small hole or space somewhere at the edge for turning. This is my own small opening. I will turn my Modesty panel right side out through that small space. After turning it, close back the small opening and top stitch it down neatly. Then press it down with your iron. Next is to fix the Modesty panel to the corset. I am also going to create a space for my eyelet. The eyelet is usually in between two bonings. Get one side of the back where you want to attach the Modesty panel and turn to the wrong side like this. Place your tape and mark out 1.5 inches from here down to the hemline. Inside these 1.5 inches, the first ½ inch is for boning, the second ½ inch is for the eyelet, and the third ½ inch is for another boning. That makes it a total of 1.5 inches. So place your Modesty panel like this and make sure it is about 1.5 inches away from the center back. Please watch closely to avoid mistake. As you place it like this, remember to leave 1 inch space below, like I said earlier. I will take it to my sewing machine, stitch it down and show you guys. This is it. After sewing the first one, for the second stitch, turn the Modesty panel like this. Mark out ½ inch from up to the hemline. The ½ inch will be for the boning. So I will take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down. Remember, the first ½ inch is for boning, the second for eyelet, and the third, which is this very one I'm about to stitch down, will be for another boning. I am done stitching it down. Now it's remaining 1 inch out of the 1.5 inches. This remaining 1 inch, I will go ahead and sew through the center, that is ½ inch away from the center back, thereby creating space for the second boning to pass through, and the center point will be for the eyelet. Note that this second one, I didn't sew it to the Modesty panel. You have to take the Modesty panel away before sewing it down. After that, for the other side of the back, we are going to create 2 boning channels by running a stitch down. So mark out the first ½ inch and sew it down. Mark out another ½ inch and run a stitch through. Then mark out the third one and also run a stitch through. I will sew it and show you guys. This is it. I have created the channels by running 3 stitches. One for boning, second for the eyelet, and the third for another boning. This is it, guys. It's very neat. Now take a closer look at this Modesty panel side. This ½ inch for boning, center for eyelet, and this other one over here for the second boning. Make sure yours is very neat like this. Before we fix the eyelet and the plastic boning, go ahead and couple the front and back of your corset. I am done coupling mine, and this is what it looks like. Very neat. So for the eyelet, go ahead and mark out where to fix the eyelets. You can leave 1.5 or 2.5 inches spaces in between, depending on what you want. So here I used 2 inches. Please, I have a video on the best way to fix eyelet with or without the Eyelet Machine. It's very detailed and self-explanatory. Check the video card that just appeared to watch it now, or later you check the description box. I will attach it there below. I will just rush the process so that we can fix our plastic boning. So create small hole on the first mark with your scissors or with this soldering iron. Get the thicker eyelet, which is this bigger one, and push it through the hole. Press it well like this and add small cloth gum all round to give it an extra hold or to avoid tearing. This is because we are not using the Eyelet Machine. So add little cloth gum all round to avoid tearing. Next, get the flat eyelet and wear it on the thicker eyelet like so. After pressing it down with your plier, you open up the thicker eyelet all round like this. Then carefully and slightly press it down with your eyelet plier or hammer. Please, if you don't understand this eyelet part, check the description box for the well-detailed tutorial or drop a comment so that I will personally link it to you, please. Our video is getting too long, that's why. With what we just did, go ahead and fix the remaining eyelets. Next, for the double boning, which is the plastic boning, we are starting with the back. So first cut out your boning and smoothen the edge like so. Then insert it through the 1/2 inch we created earlier. For this plastic boning, you can first insert it to measure, then use your hand to measure where it will stop. Hold it and bring it out before cutting. After cutting, use lighter and smoothen the edge. You can still decide to use tape and measure before cutting, or insert first to confirm. Whichever method that suits you. After cutting out for the fur at the center back, remember this one we created earlier, this one at the center here. I will either measure or insert and cut it out like this to avoid mistake. Also, cut out for the other side of the back. And this is it, guys. I am done cutting out the plastic bonings for the back. Next, I will start inserting. Starting from the center, I first smoothen both ends with lighter, then insert and push it in very well. See the center channel? Kindly pass the plastic boning through, just like this. Then push it in with your scissors. After that, turn to the front and start measuring and cutting out the plastic boning for the front. Make sure it stops where the sewable boning stopped. So I will go ahead to measure and cut out, just like I did for the back. I am inserting for the center front here, after which I will measure the next channel and cut out the boning, then smoothing the both ends and push it in through the channels. I will repeat same for all the channels. This very one is to show you that the double boning technique is also applicable to longer corsets. I made this one and it's all the same method. Please use scissors to push in the plastic boning very well. After pushing them in, go ahead and hem/seal the down part of your corset. Here, I will use bias to seal everything up. Click on this picture to subscribe now. Like, share, and drop a nice comment. Thank you so much for watching till now. I will see you in my next one. Bye.